Okay, let's talk about email deliverability, why we don't see so many people talking about it and why it's so important for email revenue. So we don't see a lot of agencies or people talking about it because one, it's not very sexy, and two, it's quite technical. And you'll probably notice that a lot of email agencies out there don't know how to test properly for deliverability. And especially they don't know how to fix or improve deliverability just because of the technical complexity involved. But it is probably one of the biggest needle movers and one of the most important things you should be doing for your e-commerce brand. If you're having deliverability issues, that means the emails are going to the spam or spam or junk folder, right? It's not hitting the main inbox or the promotions tab. So people are not seeing them. If people aren't seeing your emails, they're not opening them, they're not clicking them, and they're not generating revenue. So we've had multiple brands come to us, and probably like 75% of them actually already have deliverability issues. A lot of brands have issues so bad that they're sending emails, campaign emails, and they're probably getting let's say 10,000 people are opening their emails, when really this should be seeing 20,000 to 30,000 people opening their emails. So effectively, they could be doubling to tripling the amount of opens that they're receiving, but they don't even know that they're going to spam or junk folder. Right? So the goal here is, of course, to get the emails into the inbox, and we want to avoid spam or junk folder. First thing we're going to look at is the deliverability test. Luckily, there's a lot of ways you can do this for free using free tools. You don't actually need to, pay for many things. There's some great tools out there that are paid, but for this example, we will just use free tools. So the first one is GMass, right? Which I love. All right. It's here. You go to gmass.com/inbox or just gmass.com. You go here, go inbox, spam, or promotions. It's multiple email addresses here. This will give you a good idea if you're having an issue, right? So really you just want to copy these, and then let's just go create a campaign. And then we'll just do this. And so if you've already created a campaign previously, or you're scheduling a campaign, then just do something like this. Yep, use template. There's just an example. So this is the new builder, sorry. So it's got preview and test here. In the old builder, you'll have it on the side here, where I think it's like preview. You click on it, and then it will say show in Klaviyo, and then below it there's another button. It's like send to email. So you should just click that one and then paste all the email addresses in it. But in the new builder, you just go preview and test. Then you go send test, and then you just paste all those emails in there. Now, GMass is using multiple different inboxes. They're all Gmail. Some of them are 10 years old, some are 20 years old. Some of them are business emails. Some of them are emails with stricter spam filters. No limit Gmail. There should be no limit email, right? And then you send it to it, and then it will tell you where you're landing. Are you landing in promotions? Are you landing in the main inbox, in updates, or are you going to spam, right? So let's go here. You can see a lot of these guys are testing, and lots of people landing in spam. Glenn Knight. Spam, spam, spam. Some went into primary inbox. A lot going into spam. He may have changed something, and then it's landing in the inbox again, right? So that's usually the first test we do, just to do a quick check. Like, is there something wrong with deliverability? And we can get a really good gauge on that right away. Another way is just to use Glock Apps Inbox Tester. So same thing, go to Glock Apps, free tools, Inbox Email Tester. And just to double check, but it'll typically give you the same results. It'll tell you if your inbox, promotions tab, spam, or is it missing? Did it actually not hit the inbox at all? It'll also give you a few things here, like having a demarc issue and all of that. But really the go-to is just GMass. So we know there's probably like some sort of inbox placement issue. It's not getting into the inbox. Next thing you can do is check blacklists, right? So there's a few ones you can use here: Heatrix Tools, Mail Genius, Mail Tester, Multi RBL. MX Toolbox also does it, but it's always best to double check across multiple different tools, because some of them test for different blacklists, and at times you may test on one, especially like MX Toolbox, and it shows up and says that you're not on a blacklist, and then you test on the other ones and it says actually you are. So you definitely want to test on a few of them. Heatrix Tools here, you just put in your IP. I can show you how to get that also pretty soon. And it's going to tell you, all right, well, you're on all of these blacklists, right? And then you can like delist. And then you just click delist, and I'll show you how to delist a little bit later. So that gives you a good idea of what blacklists you're on. Of course, when you're on a blacklist, that's a bad thing because they've reported you as spam, you're listed on there, and you should be getting off of them. The other one, let's look at Multi RBL. I actually really like this one because this one will typically pick up a bunch that others don't. Same thing, just go to multirbl.valley.org, and then you just put in your domain name or the IP, and then it's going to test it on a bunch of blacklists and tell you if you're blacklisted or not. These are all green, so that means we're all good. And same thing, you just go to that domain site to sort that out by clicking on here. Then the next one, Mail Genius and Mail Tester. Cool. So I like these ones because they look at a bunch of stuff. So for these ones, and actually it's the same for Glock apps, just like it is for GMAS, where these ones you just put in the IP or your domain name. But for something like Mail Genius, you got to send an email there. So you just click it, and same thing, send test, and you send it over there. And then after that, you go see score. Same thing happens with Mail Tester. But as you can see, it will tell you a bunch of things. If your domain blacklisted, IP blacklisted, body blacklist, DMARC, authentication issues, SPF, DKIM. And then the other good thing is that it will also tell you your mail server IP. Now just remember, if you're testing all of this and you're using Klaviyo's shared IP, then you may as well not test for blacklists, because a bunch of their IPs are blacklisted, and they'll change you from one IP pool to another, and then this IP address will keep changing. So really trying to test for blacklists if you are on a dedicated sending domain, which you'll see in the next video. And then same thing with Mail Tester. It'll give you a score and it'll tell you, what's wrong, and then you can pull it down and tell you exactly where you're blacklisted or if there's any sort of authentication issues happening. So that's a great way for looking at blacklists. Now we want to look at email authentication. That's where we use MX Toolbox. You can use all different types of other ones. You can just Google, email authentication tester or SPF tester, DKIM tester, DMARC tester. But really just go to MX Toolbox, go to email health, and then it pulls up this report and it'll show you all the total problems. Then it'll show you by blacklist, mail server issue, web server issue, or any DNS issues. And in here, it'll tell you, is there something wrong with the SPF, DMARC, DKIM? And then if it does pop up and say that there is an issue, then you're going to have to go and fix that. Next, and the last one is email domain deliverability. So maybe you're doing okay on a few of these or all of these, but there could still be a specific issue with a certain email domain, right? So let's look at this. Let's go here. Perfect. So you go to campaigns, just get sent campaigns, because you want to see how campaigns did, right? You want to see the data, and then it's going to show you campaigns. You just click on the campaign name. Now in the old Klaviyo, it won't say deliverability, it'll actually say advanced, but in the new Klaviyo layout, it's deliverability, and you just click on that. And then as you can see here, performance by email domain. The green one is open rate. And then you can see here how they're landing in different email domains. So typically it'll say, gmail.com, it'll say Hotmail, it'll say Outlook, and then so many of them, maybe 30%, 40%, but then you'll notice, Gmail is down at 10%, or maybe Hotmail's down at 10%, right? And what this does is it separates all the email domains or ISPs, and it's going to tell you, is there an issue with a specific email domain that needs attention and that you have to bring back up to healthy engagement metrics, which I'll show you in another video. But that's how to test and spot for issues with these email domains, and then across all other sort of deliverability metrics.